Hello and welcome to Follow That Female. Thank you for tuning in. So have you ever considered going into the military? Do you know what's involved? So today I have the pleasure of speaking with General Carla Harding, who has a very successful career in the military. So Carla's just going to talk us through what a day in the life is like in the military, and then you can determine would it be a good fit for you. So thanks, Carla, for joining in. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it today. So can you tell us a little bit about what inspired you, first of all, to go into the military?
Okay, well, so Amanda, thank you so much for having me here. So I got to tell you, my journey with the military is a bit of an accident. So I ended up joining the military for a full scholarship. I was in Saskatchewan, small town, and my parents couldn't afford for me to go to university. And a recruiting sergeant stopped at my dad's gas station and suggested to him that his daughter, who had these great marks, was athletic, involved in the community, could get a fully paid scholarship to the Royal Military College of Canada. And so I signed up. And I was that person of basic training who, if you ever watch that really old movie, Private Benjamin, I was that person.
Yeah.
And I was a disaster. However, I did not take orders well, like at all. And it took me probably about into week 2 of basic training where I realized that I absolutely loved being in the military because of the structured team environment. I had met so many people, and the very nature of what you do from the day that you join is that you're part of something that's a greater good. You finally believe that you belong somewhere, and it's men, it's women, and you fail, you have successes, and you have those who can prop you up. And it's been an amazing experience. Like, there's ups and downs, but everyone's life has ups and downs.
Right.
But what I found are lifelong friends. I am in it 30 years later, and I have best friends who have known me since I was 17, and they know me in the days that were really bad, and they've been the ones that have pulled me up. You don't get that in other organizations. So I've essentially had the same job for 30 years.
Right. And that sense of community that comes with it then, the group of people that support each other as a true team.
Yeah, and it's a really funny kind of community. Like, we all have different jobs. Our jobs are all integrate together to do what is military operations. I'm a logistics officer by background. I was trained in supply chain and contracting. So my goal and what I do all day long is get material from one part of the world to another. And it's fascinating because it's the reality of me. We all look around and every part of us does logistics in our day. It's how you get food on the table. It's how you get building supplies. It's how you get your clothes. And for me, is I just get to take it and integrate it into a fascinating organization. And so through the military, I've traveled, I've seen the world, but most importantly, I've seen other cultures. And so what I do is I have a really deep and profound appreciation for the freedoms that we enjoy here in Canada, the privileges. What makes things hard here really aren't hard. I've seen poverty. I have seen war. And throughout all of it, it's just made me grateful for our country. But most importantly, it really has given me perspective to just slow down and understand who people are and why they are like they are.
Right.
So it's a really funny journey that started off as just needing money has turned into something that is fulfilling and enriching.
So can you tell us a little bit actually about the progression in your career from when you started to where you are now?
Yeah, so I started off, so we have to go through all of our ranks, right? And I have gone through a lot of them. When I graduated military college, I became a platoon commander. So I instantly, at the age of 21, became in charge of 40 people.
Oh, that's
yeah, so it is, but it's also you gain leadership right off the bat. And then I deployed to Bosnia as part of NATO for a peacemaking mission. And then from there, I went on to do a series of jobs. I worked in Northern Ontario for a while. I got brought into Ottawa right before 9/11, and Within a day, I was coordinating how to get logistics to planes who were being grounded when the skies shut down on 9/11. And then 3 days later, I'm trying to figure out how to get torpedoes onto a Navy ship that was going to the Arabian Gulf for the war on terror. I've been in and out of Afghanistan between 2001, 2007. I spent better part of 3.5 years in Afghanistan doing all sorts of activities. Most of it was buying material for all of the people deployed there. I got 3 masters, all of them paid for by the organization. I have deployed to the Middle East. I spent a year living in Jerusalem, in downtown, wearing civilian clothes. I have lived in Washington, D.C. I'm about to be posted to Belgium this summer to be the head of logistics for NATO. And so with each rank, you get more and more complexity. You have more people under your command. Your challenges become bigger. You get bigger budgets. And so it's more of just more.
Right.
And so right now, as I oversee a team of 3,000 people, I have a $50 million budget and autonomy to do what is needed to do because people trust me, because I have earned a reputation as being someone who gets things done and has a strong team member.
Right, based on your experience. So yeah. I guess the more you progress along in your career, the greater flexibility you need on a personal level, especially if you're being deployed. I guess you've got to have a certain degree of flexibility to move around the globe whenever required. Is that true to say?
It is, and I'm on the ridiculous side of the extreme. So I've been posted 23 times in my 30 years. That's not normal. The normal is that people will stay in location for 3-4 years and then move on. I just happened to be at a heightened time of the war in Afghanistan, and I moved, and then I started moving really rapidly throughout the ranks to progress to where I am today. And so while there's moving there, a lot of it's your own choice, but the choice comes with the limitations. If you want to progress fast and you're competent and skilled, you can move around a lot. If you want to just get to a certain point to go, you know what, I'm okay with this rank. I'm okay with this responsibility. I like this geographical area. But like most lives, you don't get your cake and eat it too, right? You have to make a choice, and it has to be a balance between what you want and what the institution wants. But I've never felt that my voice wasn't heard.
Right. So what was the most difficult period? If you look back, if you say, wow, that was a doozy, that's something that I wouldn't necessarily want to repeat.
I think it was concurrency. I was working a high-profile job planning our mission in Afghanistan while doing a master's part-time, while raising 2 teenage boys who are involved in competitive sports, while not living in the same city as my husband and children. And how I survived that year, I do not know, except that I realized that when you're in the military, you always have time management skills, and your organizational skills are beyond that of anyone outside the military. And it was trying to find balance for everyone else. And then what I realized after it, I left nothing in that for me.
Right. So what's one of the peaks then? What would be like a highlight, one of the really great times that stands out during your career team?
I think it has to be a couple of years ago. I was in command of what is called our Operational Support Group, is the organization that does global projection of all of our missions. And in 30 days notice, we had to get helicopters into Mali, into West Africa. And because the airstrip was a dirt airstrip and you couldn't get the big planes in, we had to bounce the material through Senegal, then into Burkina Faso, and then into Mali. And it was in 30 days launching 3 teams globally into Africa, 1 in each one of those locations, plus a team in Montreal, plus a team in Trenton. And we managed to pull all of this together in 30 days. And at the end of that, we had 5 helicopters flying inside the backcountry of Mali.
Wow. So a lot of coordination, a lot of organization. It's like project management on another level.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what's a typical day look like for you professionally? Like what time are you starting in the morning? What time are you ending at night? What are you doing like typically during the day?
So my current day is super busy because of the pandemic going on.
Mm,
And so my day normally starts around 0700 because I'm in an operations job. So I go in, I get all of the information of what happened in our missions around the world the night before. You see whether or not there's any problems you need to respond to, or if not, we plan what's next. So it's about looking at global security issues, emerging state actors, the people who are all bad, and
mhm.
seeing what we can do to prevent it. And then I do a little bit of, I'm an active member of Culture Change, Women, Peace and Security. And then I have a mentoring session with at least one of my mentees every day.
Mhm,
And then it's sadly, it's a lot of meetings.
mhm.
And then I am online and I'm talking to an external agency, or I'm talking to a course. So I commit my time to developing the next generation, as
Right,
well as doing support to operations. And I finish my workday normally around 6 or 7 p.m. But that's because I choose to add in the people dynamic into my day.
right,
So in addition to operations, it's about making sure that the next generation has all the skills and the tools they need to succeed.
right, right. So to succeed, what would be the main characteristics of somebody that wants to go into the military, into this type of career that you have been so successful in? What are the main traits and characteristics that that person would need to have?
First and foremost, team building. You cannot be an individual in this organization. You have to want to work with others. The second is emotional intelligence. You need to be able to read people and you need to be able to understand how they are dealing with information. And then you adjust your leadership style based on how the other person is. You can only do so much if if your team cannot come to the table, then your mission is going to fail.
Right,
And the last one is it's a willingness to learn. Nobody's going to be perfect on day one. Imposter syndrome is the most poisonous term that is out there, because I think imposter syndrome is a load of BS.
mhm,
It is unreasonable to expect that somebody's going to be perfect on day one. And so what you want is someone who comes in with their eyes wide open and they understand that every day is a learning day.
right,
If you walk in with a mindset like that, you will succeed inside the military because it's a team sport,
right,
right?
right.
There's no place for individuals here.
And main challenges or obstacles that you've had to overcome throughout the course of your career? Are there any that stand out?
Yeah, Canadian culture. I was going to say Western culture. I have had to fight through misogyny and being seen as a woman for the younger parts of my years, but that's very common in all aspects. Like you talk to anyone, like I'm 48. If you talk to anyone who's my age group, they all had to have that same uphill battle. I
Mhm,
was raised that I should be someone's wife and be a secretary. And so for me to then join the military to become a leading member of society, that that was a big change from the way I was raised by my mom and dad.
mhm, mhm.
Right. So it was, and so what I encourage for young women today is don't see any opportunity as being off limits to you. See every opportunity as your willingness to be in there. And a lot of the barriers that existed for me are long gone. The
Right,
glass ceilings have been shattered all over the place. And now it's my responsibility as a leader to make sure they're already shattered before the younger generation arrives.
right. To pave the way.
It is, and the way is now paved.
Mhm,
And what's going to solidify moving forward is young women not seeing that they have any barriers to what they can do. Do what you love, follow your heart, and don't let anything scare you.
brilliant
Nothing is
advice.
forever.
It's true. It is. I mean, fear can be the main point of paralysis for anybody, I think, to prevent them from reaching out to actually try to do what they want to do in life. So
I
just,
think so.
yeah,
I'll be done. Like I'm going to finish my 35 years in 4 years, and that way, as I've it's we retire at 35 years. And my heart's desire is to go run supply chain operations for a mining company out of the middle of the Congo.
Brilliant.
And I'm perfectly at ease doing it. Right? Like the sense of adventure and my understanding of security is pretty high. Right. So I travel by myself around the globe, seeing cool and unusual things because I have the confidence, because of my military background, to understand what is dangerous and what is just poorer people.
Right, right. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time. And for the people that are viewing, please like, subscribe. Please follow my page on LinkedIn and tune in again soon for the next interview. Carla, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Amanda.